Dragonflight is around the corner, so it's time to start talking about all the new and cool mounts that are coming with the expansion and how to get your hands on them. The ones that we know how to obtain so far at least, because surprisingly, there is a handful of them that we don't know how to get at all right now. Dragonflight is going to launch with around 33 mounts, which is a bit lower than some other expansions, especially if you look at Shadowlands, which launched with an overwhelming amount of around 100 mounts. But this expansion will launch with 4 Dragonriding Mounts, which are going to have a ton of customization behind them, and a lot of that customization is locked behind, rares and collectibles and professions, so you're going to have a lot still to collect and do within the expansion. So the first 4 mounts we're going to talk about will be the Dragonriding Mounts, and you're going to get these relatively early on. You're going to get them during the leveling process. One will come from each of the leveling zones, so you'll get the Renewed Proto Drake from the Waking Shores, you're going to get the Windborn Velocity Drake from the Ohn'ahra and Plains, you're going to get the Highland Drake from Azure Span, and then finally at the end of the leveling you'll get the Cliffside Wilder Drake from the Feldrassus. So once you're done with the leveling process and the main story questline, you'll have your 4 Dragonriding Mounts that are available in the expansion. There will also be 2 really good looking skins for these Dragonriding Mounts. The first will be the Storm Eater, which is going to come from the Vault of Incarnates, we assume from Mythic, not too sure. And then there will also be a Gladiator skin, the Crimson Gladiator one, which comes obviously from getting Gladiator in Season 1 of Dragonflight. The next mount to talk about will be Lizi Thunderspine Trampler, and this you're going to get relatively early on into the expansion. It does have some prerequisites behind it though. You will need to reach Renown 9 with the Maruk Centaurs, which you'll get quite high just from doing the main campaign, and then from there you can do their kind of like related content, but also a bunch of side quests within the Ohn'ahra Plains as well. That should get you to or very close to Renown 9, so you should be getting this very early on, the first week or 2. And you also will need to do the Initiate Stay Out quest line, which you'll find in Ohn'ahra Springs. It's over in the south of the zone, and you'll do that quest line, and then once you've hit those 2 requirements, you'll start getting daily tasks to do with Lizi, and there'll be 5 days of daily tasks. You don't have to do these in a row, you can do them whenever, but you have to do 5 days worth of daily tasks. On the 5th day, you will get yourself that Lizi Thunderspine Trampler mount. The next mount to talk about will be the Zenet Hatchling, which is going to come from Zenet Abyss. When Zenet Abyss is killed, it has a chance, although currently on beta this is a 100% drop chance, so maybe that will remain for launch. But either way, it will drop the Zenet Egg, and the Zenet Egg after 7 days will hatch into the Zenet Hatchling mount. It seems to be guaranteed that you'll get a mount from this, as you don't even get to open the egg yourself. You'll just log in on the 7th day and the egg will hatch itself. You'll have a mount in your bags. Now this rare is found in the Ohn'ahra Plains, and the shortest respawn I've seen of it was about 2 hours-ish. It seemed to be, towards that 2-hour mark more often than not. But I did see some quite long respawns as well of like 5 to 7 hours, so you may be waiting a while for this rare to spawn. Now, as I mentioned, we're not too sure on the drop rate of the Zenet Egg. It is currently 100% on beta, probably not intended, but maybe that will make its way to live. And there doesn't seem to be any kind of prerequisites to get the egg to drop. I've had friends kill it who had very low renown, had only really done the main storyline, and they were able to get the egg drop as well. Obviously things can change, but that's what we know so far about the Zenet Hatchling. The next one I want to touch on quickly, just in case people haven't picked these up yet or didn't know they were in. The Drakthir, the new race, has their own 8 race mounts that you can pick up. These are going to be Vorquin, and there will be 5 unarmored Vorquin and 3 armored Vorquin. These can be purchased during the kind of starting area for the Drakthir, but if you don't purchase them while you're there, don't worry too much, as in Valdrakken there will be an NPC that will sell you these mounts as well. So it's an easy 8 mounts to add to your collection. The next mount up to talk about will be the Plainswalker Bearer, and this is going to come from the Grand Hunt event, which is related to the Maruk Centaur. I believe at Renown 5 you unlock the Grand Hunt, so you should have these during the kind of leveling process. If not, you'll be very, very close, so you'll unlock these very quickly. And you'll see a horn on the map. You'll head out to the horn, and that's where the Grand Hunt will be taking place. You just take part in the various activities like killing mobs or killing a boss or looting things, and then once you're done, you'll get yourself a purple bag. Now you only get this purple bag once per week per character, so if you want to have multiple chances at this mount, you'll want to get your alts to the same point where they can do the Grand Hunts too. But it's only going to come from that first epic bag that you'll get each week, and there doesn't seem to be any other prerequisites, although the drop chance on this mount does seem fairly low. I've only seen one person confirm they've actually had a drop so far. The next 2 mounts we're going to talk about will be the Skitterflies. This will be the Azure Skitterfly and the Tamed Skitterfly, and you'll be able to get one of these for free once you hit Renown 25 with the Dragon Scale Expedition, and you'll be able to purchase the other one from the vendor for like Dragon Isle resources and some other various materials as well, and you'll get yourself those 2 mounts. Now getting to Renown 25 with the Dragon Scale Expedition is one of the easier, as this one's fairly grindable. Now, depending on competition though, it might get quite difficult, but across the Dragon Isles there'll be these treasures, there'll be like these dirt piles, and there'll also be these expedition satchels, and inside those will be the chance for the Dragon Scale Expedition like relics that you can hand in, and those will give you 15 rep a pop. So the way you'll grind this rep out is basically just going around and looting as many treasures as you can. Now for the dirt piles or whatever, you will need shovels. They cost like 10 Dragon Isle resources, and you'll end up getting way more than that back anyway from doing the treasures. So you just want to buy a bunch of shovels, go around digging up treasures, doing your satchels, and eventually you'll grind out enough of the tokens to hand in to get yourself to Renown 25. Now this isn't going to be a short grind though, this is going to take a very long time, but once you do get yourself there, you will get yourself 2 new mounts. And when you finally get yourself to Renown 25, you will unlock the ability to get a third mount, which will be the Verdant Skitterfly. Those expedition scout packs that we were looting for the reputation, those will now have a chance of containing the Verdant Skitterfly, but only once you're Renown 25. So you'll have to go back out there, grind more treasures to get your hands on that third mount if you do want it. It took me probably over 100 of these packs to be able to get the mount, so not too sure on the drop rate, but it definitely wasn't quick, so you might be doing this for a while to get your hands on it too. The next mount for us to talk about will be the Ivory Trader's Ottuk, which is going to be sold by Tattoo Kiaka, who will be found in Iskaara. And the interesting thing about this is they don't want gold for this or reputation, instead they want dungeon loot. You're going to have to go out and get them 3 different rings from 3 different dungeons. They're going to want the Thunderous Downburst ring, which drops from the Raging Tempest in Not Good Offensive. They want the Unstable Arcane Loop, which drops from Laymore in the Azure Vault. And they want the Platinum Starband, which drops from Veximus in Algethar Academy. So you're going to have to go out, get those 3 rings, bring them back and trade them in for the mount. Now, a few things to note about this is the quality of the rings don't matter. So you could bring him one of the rings as normal, one of the rings as heroic, and one of the rings as a mythic, and they can all be meshed together and he'll accept them no problem. Although if you do make a mistake and give him the wrong ring and sell the mount back to him, he is going to give you all 3 of the rings back as normal quality. So do be a little bit careful there. Another thing to note as well is you can pick up a dungeon quest for Algethar Academy from Kelgos in Valdrakken, and you'll be able to pick up the ring as one of the rewards, so that'll make life a little bit easier for you. I would definitely recommend doing this in a group, get a little group on the go and farm this out in normal. It's just going to make life easier because you can go in, you can kill the bosses, they're all relatively early on, like the first or second boss. Kill them, you can run out, reset, and go again, and it's just going to make the process a lot smoother and faster for getting your hands on these rings. There is also a second mount that this vendor will sell you as well, which is going to be the Iskaara Trader's Ottuk, but this time instead of wanting dungeon loot, he wants raid loot, and he wants 2 neck pieces, and one of them is going to come from Teros, which is the second boss, and then the other one is going to be from Dathia Ascended, which is the 5th boss. Now, this is where I don't like this system as much, because there is only 2 necks that can drop from the raid in general. So not only are you going to struggle to get your hands on the neck for the mount, you're going to struggle to get your hands on the neck in general. And I can just see this causing a little bit of weird toxicity and stuff. Not really a fan, especially when it's such limited loot, like there's literally only 2 necks in the raid, so everyone's going to be after these. Now, once again, I do like the idea of being able to kind of recycle your old loot once you get a new neck replacement, you'll be able to trade it in and get a mount instead. But not too much of a fan of the potential issues this may cause, but we'll see how it plays out. The next mount to talk about will be the Stormhide Salamanther, and this is going to come from the Primal Invasion events that happen within the Dragon Isles. Now this I believe won't start happening until the raids are launched, which is 2 weeks into the expansion launch when M+ opens and the raid launches and all that stuff. There should be elemental invasions kind of marked on the map. You'll go out there and the mobs that were normally there are kind of more empowered, and there'll be some other mobs in the area as well now, and killing these will give you these elemental overflow. And you need to grind out 2k elemental overflow, and you'll be able to trade that in Valdrakken at an NPC to get your hands on the mount. This grind shouldn't be too bad, honestly, once the event is actually there. I was getting this elemental overflow pretty quickly, so I think a grind group could probably grind this out in like 3 to 4 hours. However though, this event has not been active on the beta for quite some time, like over a month. So when it comes to live, maybe the event is, dramatically different and you get the elemental overflow on a capped amount, or, it's a lot harder to grind out, who knows. But either way, you'll do that event, you'll get yourself that 2k elemental overflow, and you'll be able to trade that in for your Stormhide Salamanther. There'll be 2 vicious mounts coming in the first season of Dragonflight as well. There'll be the vicious Sabertooth for Alliance and a vicious Sabertooth for Horde, and these look pretty good, so if you want to do rated PvP, then you'll get your hands on these from that. There'll also be a mount for getting Keystone Master in Dragonflight Season 1, which will be the Hailstorm Armoredon. This is a ground mount, it's not related to Dragonriding or anything like that. If you like transforming into a bird, then this next mount is going to be for you, which will be the Divine Kiss of Ohn'ahra. Now unfortunately this does not act as a passenger mount currently, so you can't use it like the Sandstone Drake, but either way still a pretty cool mount, and maybe things will change with that in the future. So this was kind of like a small secret mount, but we do know roughly how to obtain this now. First of all, you will need to have done the Initiate Stay Out questline, which involves doing the stuff with Lizi, which you should have done anyway if you're trying to get the Lizi mount. So that should be done, and now within the Ohn'ahra Springs there should be an NPC, a bird called Godoloto, and that bird wants some items. It wants 3 stolen breaths of Ohn'ahra, which are going to drop from the last boss of Not Good Offensive. I got all of mine on heroic difficulty, and I'd say it was on around like a 20-30% chance. And these started dropping for me when I was quite a high renown with the Marok Centaurs. I would have been around kind of renown 25 at this point, so you may need to be that high of renown to get these to drop. I would say between 22 to 25 renown, start kind of looking out there, but there may be some other kind of prerequisite to get these to drop as well that we just don't know, because I'm one of the only people that have actually got these to drop so far on the beta. The next item that it will need is the Essence of Awakening, which will require Renown 7 with the Marok Centaurs, and you'll be able to purchase these from the vendor. They do require an occasional sand, which you can get from the Sand Elementals over in Thaldraszus. They are on a little bit of a low drop rate, but it shouldn't take you too long to get your hands on those, and just purchase yourself an Essence of Awakening. The final item you'll need will be an Exultant Incense. This is going to be made by alchemists, but it will require Renown 22 with the Marok Centaurs, so they're going to have to do quite a bit of a grinding for that. And not only that, the essence or the incense needs to be rank 3, which means the highest quality that they can craft. So that's going to require an alchemist who has quite a lot of skill in this particular kind of area. And once they hit that point though, they can craft these, and they are kind of BOE, so they can sell them, they can trade them, all that kind of stuff. So you don't need to be an alchemist, but you are going to struggle to get your hands on this until more people reach that kind of late game crafting and renown, etc. Once you have all the items, you will get a quest from Godoloto, which will send you to go talk to Ohn'ahra. You'll head over there, you'll hand in the items, and you will just straight up get the mount, the Divine Kiss of Ohn'ahra. The next 2 mounts to talk about will be the brown and yellow Scouting Ottuks, which will come from reaching Renown 25 with the Iskaara and Tuskar. Now this is going to be quite a bit of a grind, but at least this faction does have quite a few methods of you gaining reputation, so it's not too bad. You will need to be quite proactive though. So the first method is going to be the Cooking Feast event, which happens every kind of like 3 hours, 15 minutes-ish. It's around that time. And what will happen is you'll get given cooking tasks, so maybe your task will be to go fish up some fish, or you'll cut down some meat, or you'll beat a mob that's about to spawn, you'll have to go buy an item from a certain vendor. It's pretty fun. And each of a task you do, you'll get 20 rep, and you'll get a lot of tasks done. Like I think you'll end up walking away with about 400 to 500 rep per event, and this is every 3.5 hours-ish. So you're going to get a good chunk of rep from doing that, and you can do this as many times as you're there, so it's not like daily locked or anything like that. As long as the event is up, you'll be able to take part in it and get some rep. The next way of getting rep is more of a theory. It's hard to fully test because I'm mostly alone when I'm playing on the beta, but there are these fishing areas related to the Iskaara and Tuskar, and you'll get these conches from fishing in these fishing areas. You can throw them into the water to spawn rares, and each time these rares are killed, you'll get 50 rep. So the idea would be you get in a raid group or whatever, you'll all be doing fishing, you'll be handing in your fish, you'll be getting these conches, you'll be summoning the rares, and you'll be getting 50 rep per rare killed. Now 50 rep might not sound like much, but if a rare is coming up every like 20 to 40 seconds, then that rep is soon going to add up. So I could definitely see this as a good way of getting rep if it works out how I think it does. But either way though, grind your way to 25 renown, and you'll be able to pick up one of these mounts for free, and then the other one you'll have to trade in some items to get your hands on. But there's some more Ottuks for you to obtain. There's going to be a yellow War Ottuk and a brown War Ottuk once you reach Renown 30, which is the max renown with the Iskaara and Tuskar. Same methods for gaining rep. Once you get there, you will be able to pick up your free War Ottuk, and then you'll have to buy the other one from the vendor as well. The next mount for us to talk about will be Shellack, and this is just going to be a molten snail, and it's going to come from the glory of the dungeon hero achievements for Dragonflight. So you get all the achievements done within the dungeons, and the Shellack will be your reward for doing that. And then the Glory of the Vault Raider achievement, which is the Raider one for the Vault of the Incarnates, will give you the Raging Magmammoth, which is going to be kind of like an armored red mammoth mount. It's not currently in the journal, but this is the one that we do believe to be the mount that you'll get from this. So now we're going to be moving on to some mounts that we're not 100% sure on how they're obtained. As far as I know, no one's obtained these mounts yet. But I'll talk about, what we know so far, and then people can kind of put together the pieces once the expansion is launched. It could be that these mounts just aren't fully implemented yet because there are some weird things going on the beta even at this point. For example, some of the Ottuk mounts aren't in the journal. If you learn them, there's no mount for you to use. Some treasures are still not yet implemented. So there is some weird stuff going on, and maybe, hopefully, hopium, that this is kind of like an intentional thing to keep some of this stuff a little bit more hidden. I'm not too sure though. The first one to talk about will be the Liberated Slyvern, and this is going to drop from a mob called Breezebiter. Now we know where Breezebiter is, he's found within the Azure span, and it'll fly around, and it's on about a 2-3 hour respawn timer. Now I've killed this guy a bunch, and all it drops is very basic loot. It's shown as an elite, it's not even like a rare elite or a special encounter. It typically just drops some like gold or some cloth, and so it's a little bit strange. And I have seen this mob killed pretty much off cooldown by either myself or other people, and not a single person has been able to confirm a drop, which, there is a world where it just didn't drop, it's a low drop chance, but it does seem a little bit unlikely for that to happen. So I'm going to assume there's something not quite right here, there's something not fully implemented, or there's an extra step that we're not aware of that causes the mount to be able to drop, like to Hunter or something along those lines. The next mount we're not too sure about is the Loyal Magmammoth, which requires the Magmammoth harness, which is in the game, you can purchase it, we just don't know how to be able to purchase it. It comes from an NPC called Urize in the Obsidian Citadel, and he wants a sturdy obsidian glasses and a never forged lava-proof boots. Now, as far as I'm aware, these aren't crafting recipes that we know of. I don't know what mobs drop these. I've not seen anyone talk about finding these items at all. It could be that it's locked behind the reputation with Wrathion, etc. Now, I'm currently 5 out of 6 with them, and I haven't seen any kind of hint towards these items. But maybe once you're maxed, then, maybe you can start getting these items. Who knows? Either way though, you will need to get your hands on the sturdy obsidian glasses and the never forged lava-proof boots, and then you'll be able to purchase the Magmammoth harness, and then from there, we don't know how you'll use the harness, but there'll be a Magmammoth somewhere that you can use this on, and you will get yourself a mount. The next one is the Magmashell, and this apparently needs the empty Magmashell to be able to get this mount, but we don't know where this empty Magmashell comes from. Now, there is a kind of magma snail rare spawn. I have not seen it once on the beta though, but it could just be that I've missed it. But who knows, maybe it needs some kind of special item to get it to spawn, some special requirements, some rep gating or renown gating, we're not too sure. Either way though, if you do happen to get your hands on an empty Magmashell, then you're in luck and you're one step towards getting your hands on that Magmashell mount. The next mount we're not too sure on is the Temperamental Skyclaw, although we do have some kind of hints towards its direction. There's an NPC within the Free Falls lookout in Azure span called Zonwugger, and when you speak to him, he's going to say, hey, you can take this Skyclaw off me, but we're going to need to give it some meat. You need to bring me 20 of each meat from the gnolls, basically what they would normally eat because it's been brought up on that food. And we found a spell ID that's related to this stuff, and it wants the Tuskar Jerker, which you can find from a lot of the gnolls within the zone, as long as they're not decay infected. So one area I was farming was like over in the snowy section, and these will drop these, so we need 20 of the Tuskar Jerker, we need 20 flash frozen meat, not a clue where that comes from currently, and we need 20 Nolan's House Special. Now there is an NPC called Nolan, who's the gnoll in the gnoll inn, and once again, no clue where this NPC could potentially be to get this item from. But if you come across any of those items, apart from the Tuskar Jerky, because we've already found that, then yep, you've got one of the items. So we'd need 20 of each of those. You'll be able to hopefully hand them in, and you should get your hands on the mount or progress to the next step at least. The final mount to talk about will be Otto the Ottuk, and this I don't really have much of a clue about, honestly. I thought maybe it come from the Iskaara and Tuskar tackle boxes, so when you hit renown 27, I think it is, you start getting these new treasures you can open, which is quite high for treasures, and I thought maybe it comes from that. I've looted a ton of these treasures and I've not found any kind of hint towards this mount at all, so maybe it does, maybe it's just a really low drop chance from these and I've been unlucky, or maybe its source is somewhere else, who knows. Either way though, Otto is out there somewhere, it is related to a quest to do with Otto, but so far no one has figured out where that quest is, how to start it, or what the prerequisites are. So there you go, there is quite a few mounts that we still don't really know much about, which to me is quite exciting because it does still give me things to kind of look for and look forward to once the game launches, as normally a lot of this stuff is figured out in beta, and obviously I'm part of the problem of that. But it's also, you know, a thing that I have to do to get this content out before other people come across it as well. So personally, I would prefer if beta didn't exist and it was more like Final Fantasy XIV, where the game just comes out and you don't know what to expect at all and you have to figure stuff out with everyone else. That would be a lot more exciting to me. It means I don't have to do the content twice. But either way, that's the way it is. So that's the way the cookie crumbles. Hopefully this video has helped you out though, and hopefully you're looking forward to doing some mount collecting within the Dragon Isles. Look out for more videos coming soon. Thanks for watching, guys. See ya.